back in mid to early May when the idea had finally solidified for my summit, for the Tools for a Good Life Summit, where you can go register, by the way, at toolsforagoodlifesummit.com. When that idea had finally solidified, I needed some help and some direction, getting momentum. So I called in the resources of young Thomas Lancer. Thomas Lancer, barely in his 20s, already working on his second summit, shares with me in this conversation the secrets of pulling off a summit. Please enjoy. Imagine a conscious contact with God so strong that no matter what you are doing or not doing, that no matter what your kids are up to or not up to, and that whether you've got the person of your dreams or they're just not cooperating, that you are happy, content, and at peace. A space where everyone else's thoughts, attitudes, and actions are beautiful and exactly as they are supposed to be. Well, this is the space where I like to play. My name is Misha Z, and this is today's Bitch Slap. Join me as I shed light on the thoughts, actions, and attitudes that are causing you pain, and we train our minds to go to the capital S inner self, the joy that is waiting for us, the God within. I have this podcast called Bitch Slap, and it's called Bitch Slap, the Accelerated Path to Peace. And generally speaking, it's for older guys like me, right? We've been a little beat up by life. Maybe we went through a divorce or whatever, circumstances of life happen, and those are the opportunities to grow. Like, you can either be the victim or you can grow from it, right? Does that make sense, kind of?
Yeah.
You have any of those moments in your life yet?
Definitely. Man, some of Steve Larson says, like, entrepreneurship is the greatest personal development program that exists.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to understand that on an emotional level. Like, you understand that up here, but like, just even the past, yes. So, I had to make the decision back in my junior year of high school. I was training to go swim D1 in college. Like, that was my thing.
Go to what?
Like, yeah. So go swim D1 in college.
Oh, okay.
Move the microphone here. Yeah, that was like what I was set to do. I was training like 20 hours a week, just like obsessed with it. That's all I did. Yeah, just it was unreal. And I ended up, we go to California every year to visit family. Grandparents are out there. And while I was out there, for the first time in a while, I was like in this position where I wasn't training 20 hours a week. I was like swimming for like an hour and a half in the morning on my own. And I had all this time, and I was like reading books and like meditating and journaling. I was like, I like this. I have time to do stuff. I was working out, like doing bodyweight workouts at the park. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to live the lifestyle I was living for the next 4 years, like training all the time, being in college and everything. And then I ended up reading Think Grow Rich.
Yeah.
We got exposed to that. And then a couple weeks later, reading the 4-Hour Work Week. Yeah. Once you read the 4-Hour Work Week, there's no going back, man. There's no going back. It's I think Kyle said this, or someone said this, like, it's like the gateway drug to internet marketing. So I read that. I was like, oh, this sounds so cool. Like, I want to go and like, I want to do this. Yeah. And I realized I didn't want to put off like that life of being able to travel and have a business. I didn't want to put off the life for at least 4 years. And I was thinking about going to the Naval Academy as well. I actually went through that whole application process, got my nomination from the senator and whatnot. And like, I went through that. It'd be a 4 to 10 year process. If I went to Naval Academy, it'd be 8 to 10 years before I was like completely on my own, free again. And it's like, I can't deal with that. I don't think I can do that. And so I made a decision. I had like a ton of scholarships to places. And I was like, I'm not going to go to college.
Tell me something. What are so you're in this decision-making process, and what's the dollar value of the scholarships that you're looking at? So you're having to make the decision of like, I'm walking away from.
So this is like, so I got a 36 in the ACT, and that qualified me for National Merit Scholarship. This thing called the Benequisto. It's basically full ride in state plus, I think like $7,500 a year, $7,500. And so I don't know, it's kind of like the paper money thing of universities where they, 60 grand a year, but we'll give it to you for 10 if you have the scholarship. But realistically, I mean, maybe full ride plus like a stipend for 4 years. And, but really, like, I know I didn't want to go after I do enroll. I took classes at my university my senior year. So I took half my classes at the University of Florida. I took business classes and some really awesome classes there. But being there, I realized, I was like, man, I was looking around the classes, like a lot of these people were just like the people I knew in high school, but a year older. And I thought it was going to be like this completely different thing, but it wasn't.
Right, like an entry into the business world or something, and you're like, wait, it's just all my cohorts from.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I had some awesome classes there. One of the professors I had, Dr. Brent Berthy, he taught entrepreneurship, and he was legit, the real deal.
Yeah.
The last company that he exited, he didn't have complete ownership, but he had some ownership. They sold it for $1 billion. And he was teaching us. So that was like an awesome experience. So I was like, I want more of that. I didn't want the TA who had like read this textbook or whatever, teaching us stuff. And I saw because I was in classes, I was in a business ethics class, which the guy who taught it was awesome, super cool guy.
Yeah.
And I was at this table, and it was juniors and seniors in there. So I got to talk to these people who've been in business school for years. And really, like, I realized that business school and university is more like employee school. They don't really, it's not what we're learning here, right?
I love that. That is such a good way to say that.
And they're learning like calculus and all this math. And I'm like, I know people who like got kicked out of 9th grade and they're billionaires. And like, this isn't like, and so it became clear to me that I had to do this, like, I had to go down this different path. And for a while, man, I was in the Amazon business, like selling products to Amazon FBA. Then I eventually made my way through a couple of different people till I found Russell and ClickFunnels. I was like, this is it.
It's amazing. Tell me, how hard was the conversation with your parents?
It's funny, man. Dude, because it's part of my class. So one of the business classes I took, it was like the introduction class that all new business students take. And we read this book. It was like something along those like, I don't know what my major is. Like, I'm in college. Like, what the heck is my major? And it was like, I'm kind of like, that's where I'm at. It was basically for like, you join this now, like, what do you do? Like, what do you, and I actually looked, there's exercises we did where we went and we put up, like, we drew our name in the middle or whatever. And like all the different things we wanted to do, pathways. Yes. And I actually saw a photo in my camera roll. I think it was like a year or two ago. And I saw in there, I wrote down entrepreneur, venture capitalist, like Shark Tank investor, inventor, like writer, something in the military possibly. And then I remember one night I'm in my room, and this is like probably 9:00, and I'm just like stressing because like I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna go to college or if I didn't go to college. Because before I become obsessed with like, I mean, all really like what I like doing. I mean, I'm obsessed with marketing. That's like that's what I do all day now. But before that, I was like, what the heck am I gonna do if I don't go to college? I feel like I'm just gonna be bored and like sitting at home all day. Yeah. And I remember getting up on the wall, putting sticky notes on the wall, like all the different things I could do. One of my ideas, which I was very like strongly considering for a while, this is before COVID, was going and basically training full-time martial arts at like a place in China. And I looked it up. It's only like $8,000 a year. And I was like, I could earn $8,000 in the next couple of months. I was like, that was one of my options, go train and be like just a martial arts monk. Just train 6-8 hours a day or something like that.
It's amazing.
And then I was like, okay, I can go to college, or I could take a gap year. I could do volunteer work. I could go start like a hedge fund out of my garage. I had all these ideas.
I love it.
I had all these ideas, man.
Yeah.
And as I kept reading for our work week, kept kind of like going through this process. I remember we were traveling Christmas. We were in California again. We were in SoCal this time, visiting my uncle and aunt. They live down there. We were at this base, Camp Pendleton. So my dad's in the National Guard in the Army, and we were staying on base at the hotel at Camp Pendleton. And I remember that was like the night where, sick to my stomach, man. I sat down with parents and I was like, guys, I think, and I pitched as a gap year because I couldn't say I was not going to go to college ever. I was like, I think I want to take a gap year. And they're just stunned, silent. Because from their point of view, I was applying to colleges. I was going through my application for the Naval Academy, and like all this stuff. And I actually talked to my mom the other day, and she's like, "Yeah, I didn't believe you. Like, we didn't believe you when you said that. You said you were going to take a gap year."
Plus, you'd have the scholarships, or at least some places lined up, so it's all teed up. It's all ready to go in effect, right?
Yeah, I could have like gone to a couple of different schools and just paid zero money and full rides and everything, and they didn't believe me. And my mom had not been bit by the business bug at that point yet, so they were still very much in the mindset you need to go to college.
Yes.
Successful. My mom now is like, why should you go to college? Like, she's in the business world and she sees it now.
Yeah. That's amazing. So were they shaking their head like Thomas, like, what are you thinking? Like, you can't do this. Yeah.
They didn't say like you can't like do it, but they were in shock for like they didn't even it wasn't even until like a couple months ago my dad would still tell people that I was taking a gap year.
Yeah.
Like, and then when I launched something and started making like money, like my dad was like, "Oh, this is like a real thing.
Wait a minute.
You've actually been doing something." Okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's amazing. Pendleton Camp Pendleton is 10 miles north of me, where I am. Yeah. And I don't know. One of my favorite surfing spots is on Pendleton. It's called DMJ's.
Yeah, I think we actually surfed that. We actually surfed. It was so cold, but it was like winter. But yeah, I think we surfed that spot because you have to have like an access, sort of somebody who has access. We surfed that spot. Yeah, we surfed. I told you I lived in Puerto Rico for a while, like a couple weeks or 6 weeks. I was there, and I was surfing there when I was living there.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. That's an amazing story about with your parents, and now you've given them the bug. Now your mom's like, "Hey, wait a minute, this is pretty cool."
My mom's launching her summit. Promotion for it starts like this week for it, literally. Well, she's actually started promotion. I told her, like, 80% of your speakers are going to wait until the last 5 days to promote.
Yeah.
And that's how it was for me. That's what NJ's told me. There's a lot of people, because we have this 3-week promotion period. Like, most people are not going to email their list until like the week before.
Yeah.
Some people even like, I had a couple of speakers, it was literally like the day before the summit, and they were emailing and sending people to it.
Excuse me. Were you like pumping them? Did you email your list yet? And they're like, no. Or how?
So I wasn't asking them if they emailed, but I was basically sending reminders. I was emailing them 2 to 3 times a week, sending texts, emails, updates. Hey, we got our first sale for first promotion, or hey, we're 2 weeks out. We're a week in. We have 500 leads. We're 2 weeks in. We just crossed 1,000. Or this morning we just crossed 1,500 people. We have 24 hours left. Promote. And Bailey talks about it a lot in there, but I added in a couple emails and texts, and I was just hitting them up. Let's do Facebook Lives, Instagrams, all this sort of stuff. And really, you'll start to see who's going to promote and who's not going to promote.
Yeah.
It'll become pretty clear, like who's actually responding to your texts and emails.
Yeah.
And for what I did for this summit is when they're scheduling their appointment, you can see on there probably, or I don't know if it's required for that form, but for my interview form, I required their phone number. Because last time I didn't require it. Some of them put it in, some of them didn't. But this time I'm making it mandatory. And so I had one guy who put it in like 000, so he didn't want to share his phone number, which is fine.
Yeah.
But for most of the people, like I'm gonna get the phone numbers and it's like a list.
Yeah.
It's like traffic you own. So if you can hit them, because emails, people, it's a hit or miss, but you text them, usually it's their cell. And so they're gonna see it. Most of them will respond to it. and I got such fast response rates when I was texting people. So that's a huge thing. I'll say, as you're doing this on your whatever schedule you have, make that phone number required.
Okay. And did you put cell under the on the for that field? Did you put cell number?
Or did just put it? It was like a default. I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever acuity was.
Yeah.
Most of them are solopreneurs, and so they'll have like, they don't have a assistant or a whatever. Like,
what other phone numbers are there anyway now, right? Like, who's got a landline? I'm sorry, I just showed you.
I didn't even know, man.
You're like, landline? What?
What's that?
Yeah, fax. That's amazing. Well, cool. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing the pre 2CCX, because because you just came out of the gates, and I was disheartened for a minute. I was like, excuse my language, but who the fuck is this? I was like, how did this even happen?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Oh, how are you publishing? What are you doing?
I have podcast. I've been on there every single day. There's one episode I published. I said ketosis sucks for fat loss. But I took that down because a lot of my Dream 100 people are keto people. Yeah. And after talking with NJ, I was like, she's like, it's probably not a good idea to throw rocks at your Dream 100. So I took that one down. So if you look at the feed, there's one day where it says there's not anything published, but I did publish that day. But I've had the streak going every day since the publishing challenge started.
Yeah, amazing. That's amazing. The publishing challenge got me. I joined in September, and I think our publishing challenge started in December or something, or maybe it was November. I can't remember when it was, but I've been publishing every day since too. Yeah, that was a great platform to publish every day. So I've got like 170 episodes or something like that. Wow. And I have a ghost day too, where I'd done this interview and it was awesome, and I threw it. And this lady, I interview one person a week, right? And she was balking at publishing the interview because I can ask some some personal questions, right? And I'll dig a little bit. So she was balking at publishing it, so I went ahead and published it anyway. and then like a week later, I was like, hey, her name's Lisa. I said, hey, Lisa, I published your episode because you never really said no. And she was like, that was presumptuous. Take it down. So I have a ghost day as well. Yeah. I have the ghost day. What's your do you track your downloads and all that? I shouldn't even ask this question.
No, right now I'm doing distribution through Anchor just because like the ease. And they don't have awesome analytics. Yeah. But my thought, I can see I think I have like 2 people who listen to it. So I get at least one episode. And then the other day I had my listens went from like 40 to 80. So I had someone go back through and binge listen the entire thing. Yeah. It was awesome.
That's like best, 2 people right?
Right now. I don't know how many downloads or anything, but yeah.
No, that's amazing. I think I have probably 7 or 8 people maybe that listen, maybe, and it can spike. Like I had this one, I don't know what it was, but I had this wave where it was like, for me, it was like I was getting like 20 to 30 downloads per episode, and I was like, I was like, I found it, and and then it was like here now, and I'm like, damn it, I thought I'd
that's so funny, man, because like you think about the numbers and like I was like stoked on my mind when I get, 2 people listening to it.
Yes.
And then we're doing the summit over here. And it's like, I want to get like 5,000 people registered for the summit. But then like, I'm stoked for like 2 people listening to your podcast.
So weird.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you've been in this since September?
Yeah.
2CCX?
Yeah. I stumbled into the One Funnel Away challenge. And initially on the One Funnel Away challenge, I was going to do a LinkedIn. LinkedIn can be a great way to generate leads. And so I created this little program to generate leads and do all this stuff. And then, so I was in the One Funnel Away, all into it. And then the 2CCX was like shiny, and I was like, I got indoctrinated just like you. I just was like, bam, 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 and I got the books, and then the shiny object of the 2CCX just brought me right in. And but the hard part for me was the trying to figure out, I needed more specificity for my summit. Like I had no clarity, no vision. And like the idea for my summit really took me like 6 months. It's taken me 6 months to get to the point where like, okay, I got an idea. And it was so painful. It's that what you were talking about, that entrepreneur psychic, that that pain, man. So that's my story. So finally I was like, all right, I got an idea that I can run with, but it took me six, and I'm, 2,500 a month. I'm like, this is insane. Like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I say I love that the 2,500 a month. There's that pressure every month. Like, man, if you're not, I want to move through this stuff fast.
Yeah.
And then I know every month, for me, it's the 25th. That's when I joined. Every month, 25th, I got to have $2,500 like every month, over and over. So it's literally, I would not be doing some of the things I'm doing right now if I didn't have that. Like, every month.
Yep. It's interesting. For me, I think for me, the finances drove me for a long time, which is awesome. I think that's a nice thing about being young too, and having just that pull, that drive for success, that want to generate revenue. I mean, it's a great tension point, right? And the challenge for me, and this might not interest you, or you might be like, I don't care, or I can't comprehend it, but like when you have a little bit of money in the bank, and perhaps like that, it's interesting trying to find the pull when finances aren't the issue, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Where do you get? Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that. I haven't really truly experienced that yet, but it's like once you're earning the money you want, then that's where most of Russell talks about. You shift from that, like the money, the motivation for it dies really quickly. Talks about, and it becomes like the impact and like who you can help. And
that's it. You'll be there soon. Clearly, that's going to be an issue that you're going to get to deal with. I can tell.
Well, that's an issue that I'm looking forward to.
Right. You're like, I can't wait. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, in this program, I should have like the income stream set up probably within 6 to 7 weeks. It should be like, okay, we're good for the rest of 2CCX. And so now I have my next 19 days from now, and so now I'm still like I have one last payment that I kind of like really have to hustle for, and make, and then it'll be in this place where it's like, like I'll have my chiropractor program coming in. So
cool. I want to ask you, do you have a vision for what you're going to do for your $1 million, like that funnel?
Oh yeah. 100%. So I'm planning on doing basically Modern Lady Boss, doing the perfect webinar, $300 membership site, pocket personal trainer, selling perfect webinar. I mean, I'm so excited to get to that stage. Like I've read Expert Secrets a couple of times, but this was before I joined the program. And it wasn't in this place where I was ready to apply this stuff, but like, I'm so ready to get the nail it phase where I can like start geeking out on the perfect webinar and the 3 secrets and the big domino and like all this stuff. And I'm so excited to do it because I've just been collecting. I'm like, I hear something like, oh, that would be really good. Like my 3 secrets. And just like, I remember reading a book, man, this is probably like 8 months ago. And it's about fat loss. And this really is, that book gave me my new opportunity. But reading this book, and he was talking about how fat loss, like, it's controlled by the immune system, and fat loss is like an injury. And like, when you injure your fat cells, then your immune system reacts. And that's like how fat loss happens and how it's controlled. Like, I can just like see myself on the webinar telling the stories and like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
cool.
I'm really excited for that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for the nuggets. Let me ask you, top 3 on your first summit. What were the top 3 things that you did? I don't want to say wrong, but top 3 things where you're like, oh, I should have.
Yeah. Okay. Top 3, 100%. So first, speaker selection is key. Speaker selection it lays the foundation for your summit, and it really is gonna. It's not here. Like it's necessary, but not sufficient. So it's necessary. You need that. You need the speaker selection to be dialed in if you want to have the opportunity to do a really, really good summit. We're going to get a couple thousand people. You're going to do tens of thousands of dollars in revenue. Speaker selection is key.
Okay.
And that comes down to the size of the speakers. So if they're too big, they're not going to promote. If they're too small, they can promote all they want. Nothing's going to happen. Okay. And so that 10 to 30K range on Instagram, like it's perfect.
That's the nugget.
Speaker selection, and then making sure that they have your dream customers and making sure they're part of your dream 100. That's a huge thing. Because if you're talking about getting shredded and getting swole and you're going over to mom's fitness and health, it's like there's a mismatch there,
It's a mismatch.
So, yeah. And these are the people you can be bringing into your company and like launching your Nail It funnel too. So that speaker selection is key for the size and then per people. And then next thing is speaker relationships, because really it's like your relationship quality is going to determine if they promote or not.
Yeah, that's
a huge thing, especially when you're starting from zero. And so the better relationships you can have with them, connecting, doing a lot of, like, for my interviews, I listen to podcast interviews they've been on. I create questions. I ask them if they have specific frameworks and names they have for their frameworks. I'll ask them about that as well. So it shows them, by asking that question, I showed them that I listen to their stuff.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing, that you're not just some person you just emailed them and you're coming onto the podcast interview without even having looked at their stuff. And then touch points with the speakers. So having weekly touch points, emailing them and texting them every week. And then even texting them more than that, interview reminders, cool things, whatever. Like this summit, I'm staying in touch with my speakers more, texting them reminders, and I'm going to be texting them stuff more. So when I come and say it's time to promote, I didn't just ghost them for 2 months or a month and then, all right, now it's time to promote. It's like, I've been in touch with them. Who are you? Exactly. Yeah. And I had that for my last summit where I was like, the interview took so long. So it was like 2 or 3 months. And so that's another huge thing. And then the final thing I would say is that most of the speakers are probably going to promote in the last 5 days. Yep. So I was freaking out the first 2 weeks of my summit. I had a couple people promote. I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody's promoting. What's going on? But really then the last couple of days I had a lot of people promote. So really when it comes time, when it's the 3-week promotion period, it's kind of done. So you have to follow up with them, follow up, give them swipes, give them stuff. But a lot of them are probably going to decide if they're going to you lay the foundation for them promoting in those first couple of weeks that they know you.
Yep. And
so if you just message them, you didn't have a good interview and you ghost them, and then it comes time to promotion, it's already lost.
Yeah.
And so you set yourself up for success during promotion time, during those first few weeks, interviewing the speakers, being in a relationship with them.
Love it.
And then really that time of promotion is some of the easiest. It gets easier as it goes along.
Yeah.
Because you do Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, everybody. But you're just basically there to make sure they have what they need to promote, and you're just following up with them. And then when someone's actually live, it takes 15 minutes a day. Super easy. So yeah, man, those are the 3 core takeaways I would say. That those are what I'm applying this time around after my first summit, and that's what I'm going for, to create some income, some impact, get a lot of people on my list, and form really good relationships with these people.
Fantastic. Did you do, this is the last thing I'm going to ask you.
Mhm.
Did you do one question and then the bonus question?
So for my last summit, I created questions based off Bailey's. I think she provided question templates in there.
Mhm.
And I created questions based off of those. I actually have a document that I shared with the summit Facebook group. I'll share it in the 2CCX Facebook group.
Okay.
It's like the template that I use for the questions, creating the questions. I'll share that. For this summit, I thought I was going to do like the core question thing. You suddenly lose everything. How do you get your results back? For my first 3 interviews, I had 3 interviews this week. I did that, and it kind of flopped, honestly,
Yeah.
because that question takes preparation.
Yes.
And so I think it's probably better to do that when you have people you've been, like Stephen Larson for his summit, your final offer. He's like, if you had 100 days, you could only make one more offer to fund you for the rest of your life, what would you do? And so people took time and put thought into that and created stuff.
Yeah.
Most people are not going to do that when you're coming off of a new relationship. And so I've switched it. I'm going back and just doing questions. And so I'll search on podcasts and find a podcast interview where they're being interviewed, because usually those podcast episodes where they're being interviewed, they distill a framework. They're their framework for something.
Yeah.
And so I just ask them questions about that.
I love it. Yeah, cool. So you keep it super flexy. I started inviting people before I got the speaker landing page done. So I finally got my video done for the speaker landing page. So only thing you're outsourcing is the initial interview or the initial email to speakers.
Yeah.
Everything else you're doing.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Really. And that's like kind of the fast, bootstrapped, get it done sort of way to do it.
Love it. So good. I can't wait to use Influencity. I am so hey, let's go help people, man. This has been amazing. I thank you truly for giving me a few minutes. I look forward to talking to you again, man, and I look forward to seeing you thrive. Well, you got any questions for me, or what's up?
No, man. I just wanted to hop on here and just like provide value.
Yeah.
Just like help people in 2CCX with, I've gone through this process one time already, so there's a few lessons I picked up that I think it probably saved people a lot of time, saved me a lot of time, so save other people time. And so just wanted to be able to share that with people going through the process.
Dude, that's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for spending time with me today. As someone who is committed to growth and service to this world, I so appreciate your willingness to come with me, go within, and serve our world through change. If you found value in this podcast and you know someone who can use this message, share this episode with them. Share it so our mission can be achieved one episode at a time. And of course, subscribe so you can hear more. And lastly, for more resources on what has helped me on my journey and can help you on yours, go to belove.media/resources. That's BELOVE.media/resources. Thank you again for listening.